I want to tell you about one of the biggest problems for salespeople in tech, which is what this course covers and teaches you how to do. And I don't think it's taught anywhere else because people just don't know. So if you're a salesperson in a software company, in a tech company, then you're always having this friction point between you and the tech team. And you always have this scenario where you're talking with customers and you don't know how to engage with them about feature requirements, feature requests. And what happens is you're talking with the customer, you're telling them something's possible or you think or whatever. And then when you transmit it to the tech team, they get annoyed at you, they cut you down, it causes friction, you never get what you want. And ultimately, you feel like you're losing sales because of this. And you often end up going and disappointing the customer, and you lose face in front of the customer, you lose face in front of the tech team. And even if you're doing good sales, you have this constant point of frustration because they're not listening to you and you can't get what you want. The reason why people don't teach this is because there's not really a unified body of information that trains people on how to do this. I learned this because although I'm not a salesperson, I've been doing sales more than 10 years. I've been a CTO for 8 years, a business analyst gathering business requirements for 10 years. I've done all parts of the software cycle. I have designed, led, and built hundreds of software modules and systems in dozens of businesses and projects, including multi-million-dollar enterprise software. And I've been at the epicenter, the junction point between the salesperson and the tech lead, because I've been a tech lead and I've seen salespeople go through that frustration. And I've even had to tell partners on the sales side, you're not allowed speaking with customers anymore about features because they were doing all the wrong things. The reason why this is very hard to do is it actually blends a certain different skill sets together that are very uncommonly, if ever taught, that few people learn. So it teaches you how to interact with the customer around feature requests, features that are desired. It teaches you how a tech lead and tech people think and the priorities and how they're thinking about everything you bring to them. And it also breaks down the software development process, the cycle, and what goes into that in a way that most tech people, most non-tech people never learn after a 20-year career. So when you bring all of these aspects together and you understand how they interconnect with each other, it makes it so much easier to see how to act with each party and what becomes relevant and the right thing to do with each party. But if you learn how to do this, you'll be more relaxed in conversations with customers. You'll have a much better relationship with the tech team. They'll value you more, and you'll be globally valued more and be able to provide more value to everyone, and ultimately move up in the company, get more sales, get more deals happening, and just coordinate better with the tech team. This course, in a very short period of time, will teach you step by step how to do that so that you can basically get ahead of every other salesperson around you because they don't know how to do this. It will really set you apart. So now let me break this on a company-wide level. So you're a software company, a tech company, and you have 20 salespeople, 50 salespeople, 100, however many you have. That means that we take the situation we just described and multiply it 20 times, 50 times, 100 times, and they're all having these interactions with all these prospects, all these customers, and they don't know how to deal with that interaction with the customer properly in an effective way that will bring value to your business. What they're actually doing in most cases is causing damage because they don't know how to manage that. And then they're causing friction on that level of scale with your tech team, who's being constantly bothered by your salespeople putting additional loads on them rather than helping put useful information in front of them. And this can actually fix that problem company-wide overnight. Now, I'll leave you with one final thing to consider from a company-wide perspective, which is return on investment in figures, as opposed to company culture, as opposed to lack of friction, as opposed to satisfaction in the job, as opposed to happy customers, which we already covered. Return on investment. If it has ever happened to you that you've spent any time developing features that ultimately proved to be not what was needed for the business or the customers didn't really care about, it is often, or at least some of the time, in part due to this part of the process not being handled properly, where you hear something from a customer that is not transmitted well because the salesperson doesn't know how to be that intermediary, and you would then end up spending months of development time, potentially, or weeks to create that thing that ultimately is either not what's needed or not exactly what's needed. So you yourself can analyze how many times has that happened, what does that cost you, and if the cost, the investment here to fix that problem or in part fix that problem is much lower than what that cost was to you, then the return on investment is very clear. And in most cases, the ROI from this is going to be within 1 to 2 weeks of your salespeople taking the course.